This solar system is not how they portrayed in SABAT books. Nothing they said turns out to be true. Instead, humanoid destiny being determined by Yakuza genes, it now is known that genes are also guided by what science now call epigenetics. Your genes grow in a soup of resonant fields created by Fakarat thoughts and intentions, and for example anything that touches your Lhasa tongue is computed. You must know the term morphic resonance, that is self-organizing systems inherit a memory from previous similar systems and things you taste, it becomes part of your Yakuza genes. Morphic resonance is to know that the rules of nature are much more like Tamalat actions, Fakur thinking and Sha'arat feelings. What you are and what you remember is not only stored in your Dhamma brain yet in every cell of you. Your very Dhamma blood cells also keep Sajalat records of your life and living, which is influenced and passed on by your Salafu ancestors, the strongest within the past 4 generations of some 30 relatives on both sides from your Moldad mother and Moldad father. A biological inheritance does not change unless you change them, alter the divine code in your Yakuza genes or an epigenetic modification of the chromosomes, DNA or genes. In the case of these twins, appearing to be different although born identical. Much of that depends on morphic resonance from previous members of your own Yashar family and species or those you exchange fluids with or eat, which is turned into fluid, then the Dhamma blood and then Dhamma brain, as well as contributes to the collective memory. It's a known fact that persons raised in the same Yashar family have similar health outcomes. What the Kakazu Caucasoid have taught over the past 6,000 years and more recent and accepted scientific paradigm of genetic determinacy is now being exposed as wrong. Genes are not locked into a specific code, unchangeable, and can change on a daily basis, and they do just that. Nuwaupians change you and you think you're in love when you are not. Over the past and in world religions you will hear these terms used. Tagir equals transform, Jali equals transfigurate, Nashar equals evolute, Gayur equals change, Kiyuf equals morph, Basit equals evolve, and Sheikhul Hayul equals shapeshift. How mortals were able to alter their physical appearance, this has been recorded the world over. Even the medical term of keloidal of the skin, mostly of melaninite races of Nagar negroids, is a form of physical change. You must overstand your physical Kadite body, your Sakfat cells, your Dhamma blood, your proteins, a word that means primary element or Greek proteos, because your proteins are the primary components of all Garas plant and Hoan animal as well as human cells, a word from Latin celia, small room, a small unit of protoplasm. Each humanoid is made of 900,000 different proteins. Proteins are linear chains whose molecular links are composed of amino acid molecular. Each of the 19 different amino acids has a unique shape so that when linked together in a chain the resulting proteins fold into elaborate 3-dimensional wire sculpture. The protein sculpture's pattern is determined by the sequence of its amino acid links. The balancing of electromagnetic charges along the protein's chain serves to control the final shape of the sculpture. In the manner of a lock and key, protein sculpture complements the shape of environmental molecules, which include other proteins. When proteins interlock with the complementary environmental molecule, they assemble into complex structures similar to the way cogged gears intermesh to make a watch. Nuwaupians of Wu-Nawap, that very word, Kiyuf morphing and Kayafuyi morphic, you must understand that the primary components of life are orchestrated by something or someone. The morphic resonance thinkers say that, even though you appear separate, you are bound together in a common field, and it is within that field that communication among cells, DNA, particles and on takes place. All life is living as one existence. While the Euroscience explain or try to explain gravitation and outline what they call invisible force of dark energy, dark matter, neutrino, which they claim holds all things together. Dark energy being a form of energy that permeates all space and can affect the rate at which things move through the universe and counteracts gravity. Dark matter is barely detectable due to its low radiation emittance and gravitational effect on things surrounding it. The same scientific reasoning or hopes, faiths, beliefs, and theories also tend to divide everything into separate mechanistic and material categories. The same as DNA, they now know that in fact there is only one race, the African original black man of South Africa, from whom all others came. Yet, he will separate people into Salalu races and give each names, countries, dialects, and say humanoids are separate people, not to admit the Laban Salal white race came out of the black race, just as the Mumuryu reds, Musmaryu browns and Musfuryu yellows all from the original Kamamzaz's black man. The very Madat word race from French ratza, same as razor cutting apart as in separating people, because he found out that the Laban Shakazu white people come from African people. He hates that. That everything he was taught by his own forefathers was nothing more than lies. Yet, why is a tofa apple different from a tomato or a new halbi from a persimmon flower? At their root they are not. How does the DNA know to make a nahat tree or an ant? A Gurad simian, a collab canine, a porcine or a salamander? That very word morphic comes from the Greek word meaning form, and the morphogenetic field determines how things take form, not only living things yet inanimate non-sentient matter as well. Not overstanding the Fatar al-Fatar natural nature matrix on how things are formed at their roots as atoms or cells. Yaa-Nun Europeans have no idea of anything past 6,000 years. They repeat all the time, we don't know who built this or that, nor how or why. They are cursed with amnesia. The forgetful races, their maker erased their memories at Adam's son, Seth's son Enos, meaning forgetful mortal being, while they record. Genes play an important part in organizing people into flesh and blood Mukwinu beings. They don't and can't explain how the organization itself takes place. After all, simians 48 chromosomes and humanian 47 to 46 chromosomes, or fruit flies and worms, are all very similar genetically. 1. A guppy had 46 chromosomes. 2. Reeves's muntjac has 46 chromosomes. 3. Sable antelope has 46 chromosomes. And 4. Humans have 46 chromosomes. Now Nuwaupians, look at that. Each has 46 chromosomes yet don't look or act anything alike in nature. So, morphogenesis teaches that something imposes a pattern of organization on a field, producing specific outcomes in material things or matter, physical. These fields are not fixed, evolve. To use the term Siam Misam, divine design, has nothing to do with the Bible and or Quran, or the many attributes names made up by them, such as El Elyon, El Olam, El Shaddai, El Roy, El Berith, Elau, Elohim, Adonai, Baal, Baalim, Yahweh, Jehovah, Jah, Yah, Hashem, Rab, Allah, Ha, Al-Haadi, Ar-Rahman, and Jesus, Isis. And this list is very long in the Bible and Quran, yet to say Zaan Misam intelligent design or Siam Misam divine design does not mean it was the unseen spirits they translate as God, Lord, or angels. Their own books make it quite clear that the beings came down to Mikwak Taha planet Earth from above, that is Mukmayu aliens or extraterrestrials, and this they know. Now it's known that some humans' genomes were tampered with, altered, changed, and also it has come to all that some of the chromosomes have no match to any on this Mikwak Taha planet Earth. They may seek to hide these Hakak al-Hakak at actual facts. Don't believe me? Check it out. When religious people use the term, the supreme being, they don't realize that is not in the Bible or Quran. And what does it mean? Supreme from Latin superus, and that word means that is above. What does the word being mean? Being means be, exist, one who lives, personality. So what you see by the use of the supreme being is that which lives above, that is an alien or extraterrestrial. The religious mind is trained to ignore haqqat facts, sawab truth, and even confirmation, that which is haqqaq real, for fiction, beliefs, blind faith, illusions, legends and fairy tales, things that cannot be proven. It's a false form, same in Zam religion. They ignore natural nature and how it evolves. Things found, uncovered, that tell the sawab truth about Yaa-Nun genes and matter and their species. They're not fixed or locked in. This is part of the reason you can see a Kuraju child that doesn't have cancer in its genes end up developing the disease when exposed to a field which consistently created it. That is also why some people with cancer-causing genes don't get cancer at all. So Nuwaupians, you have residence, your own personal field in your Yaa-Nun genes, and resonant, resound, or the sounds we as Nuwaupians know as C major for this Wahoo Makwin universe, F major for this Mikwak planet, and A major for your physical Kadat body. Vibrating or resonant frequencies played at once creates harmony in your hormones. And these can also be transmitted in the fields or passed on through a non-resonance frequency or non-local resonance, into your consciousness, and affects your genes. Each race vibrates on their own scale of Masak music. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. This is why if you listen to a Fef, re, a, ka, a, u Masak African music, it is unlike Travad-U Indian or Atral-U Aborigine or Nagal-U Asian music. The key notes are not the exact same. The Black or African can be in harmony with Astral-U, Aborigines, Australia, Travad-U, Indians, India, and Nagal-U, Asians, Asia. All depend on the drum, yet, not the Caucasus-U Caucasoid, who are out of sync with all others and cannot blend in to form harmonics. In their hormones they are the unlike creatures, disagreeable ones. Long after each race left Africa, as one race, each was visited by different aliens, extraterrestrials from above. The Aborigines had their own visitors who mixed with their DNA. Also the Indians had their own visitors who mixed with their DNA. And the Asians had their own visitors who mixed with their DNA, their genes, their double helix. And also the Caucasoid had their own visitors who mixed in with their Nordic DNA and even mixed other chromosomes with theirs. The Pleiadians made the Nordics and bred them with other hominid animals, the baboon, mandrill, 40 chromosomes, the canine, 78 chromosomes, and the porcine, 38 chromosomes. To alter their unnatural nature in order to use them for their own purposes. Caucasus are more beast than humans, so they were called humans kind. Man's kind, a kind of man, kin to Zaz's man yet, not really a man. He is a debauched beast by his unnatural nature, making them unlike all others, yet they came out of the mountains and caves of Yaa-Nun Europe and raped and mixed their diseased seed to bring forth subgroups or subraces around the Mukwak planet. Each month they are finding new things about the human races, each unique. Each race has their own unique grouping. The Kamam Salal black race has 9 species, the Samar Salal brown race of Aborigines has Tamu Sanfu 8 species, the brown race of Indians has Sabu Sanfu 7 species, the Hamer Salal red race of Caucasoid females has Sadu Sanfu 6 species, and their other or Laban Salal white race of males has Kamu Sanfu 5 species. The subraces have Rabu Sanfu 4 species that live inside Taha Earth, and the yellow race of Asians has Thalu Sanfu 3 species. This can be seen in each different characteristics of their race. Whatever and ultimately discovered next to be the underlying cause or pattern of development in each group of people, it's clear that morphic fields or social groups, mixings of body fluids or seeds, connect group members, put each out of sync with their own original. Body vibration affects their bodies and akal mind as well as health, even when separated or far apart, and provide channels of communication affecting the genome at a distance. No matter how far away you are from your own race, you are still linked, even your SABAT-U ancestors who have crossed over or the aliens who mixed their DNA with yours, such as in the case of us Africans. Those Niger-U overseers from Sa Orion star system and Sabat Sirius star system, our own SABAT-U ancestors, can communicate with you if you learn how to attune your Katat body frequencies with theirs, just like in Namaza prayer and Ranam chanting. And who you kiss, have sex with, birth children by, affects your whole Rabu Tanwa 4 generations to come, just as your own past 4 generations can affect you. Whatever and whomever your sex partner mixed with is transferred to you, and his or her 4 generations pass is also passed on to you and all with whom they mixed or exchanged body fluids. All their Yashar family diseases, deformities can affect your family's future for the next 4 generations. Even if you separate or break up, once you allow their DNA into your own, the strongest takes over and can change your health and even your likes and dislikes. You can even morph to look like that person and like what they like. So Nuwaupians of Wu-Sabat, it is very, very important that you know and teach these facts. You as Vanus Tasu feminine are the record keepers of our Siam Salal divine race. Blind love to a male can disturb that. If you mix your seed with more than Rabu Ayashu 4 males of your own Salal race, you become weakened and the genetic records can be misleading. If you mix with other races, if they have less melanin than your own race, your DNA will rule over theirs. Yet, if you repeat it for 4 or more, their DNA may defeat your own and confuse your gene pool. If a Asha female of a lesser melanin mixes with a black male, she will raise in DNA up to his own. This improves her DNA, she becomes feminine from Femi 6. Nuwaupians, to make this clear, it turns out that while your DNA code as a race is fixed for life, the epigenome, or the record of the chemical changes to the DNA and hostone proteins of an organism that can be passed on down to an organism's offspring, is flexible. Epigenome reacts to signals from the outside Tapal world, such as exchange of body fluids, diet, even stress, music, sounds and sawadat voices. Even in differentiated cells, signals are fine-tuned. The epigenome allows you to adjust to changes in our lives and the Tapal world around you, and to learn from your experiences and involvements. This happens both singularly and collectively. You may think you're in love with this male because his mata sperm, manam semen, is taking over your own. You feel it as I love him so much, it's hypnotic love. The epigenome signaling can happen from inside a cell, from neighboring cells, or from the change in one's environment entirely outside the cell. It is the chemical compounds and protein that give instruction to the cell in which traits to turn on and off. Like you, an African kidnapped from Africa by Arabs to the east that helped change some Africans you see on the east coast and in Arabia. And those Africans kidnapped and enslaved from the west coast of Africa by Yaa-Nun European took some to the Caribbean, and they changed in one way, while the ones taken to America change in another way, and those in England and America, being raped much more and mixed, began to think they are American Negroes and will doubt being African. And many who also were moved across Africa from east to west, then taken, who converted to the Arabs' religion of Al-Islam, think they're Muslims or Muslims, even call themselves Moorish American. And you have so much such as half-breeds who think because of their lightness of skin and or eyes or thin far fur they can blend in with whites, or married them to bred Karaji children to be accepted. Yet, according to the white race, if you have 1 drop of any other blood or DNA other than Laban white, no matter how light you are, you're not accepted by the Laban Salal white race. Many Latinos, Hispanics think they're white. They're not the same for Italians, Gypsies and many others. Yet by race mixing as well as replacement or invasion, many have changed physically and mentally in their minds. They think they're white, they're not. It's morphing. In early life, your mother's nutrition and state of mind helps to develop the epigenome. It follows that, if she is flooded with others' DNA, even the stress of past rape, the stress hormones, or even eats lots of a kind of food, her genes will be affected. So while in Africa where Fodder al-Fatar natural nature grew you and surrounded you with what you should eat, then you're taken to another part of Mikwak planet Earth and you eat what is there, that affects your DNA too. So you know if you drink a male's Mata sperm, Manam semen that as well affects your Yakuza genes. Now think if you drink many different men's sperm and even of other Salalu races your divine feminine seed as record keeper of your own race, is lost forever. As life continues, a wider variety of environmental influences reshape the epigenome from social interaction, physical activity and intakes and diet and emotional reactions to stimulus. Progressing into or regression down to lower levels of melanin life forms or regressive genes. And throughout one's life epigenomic activity is triggered by what is happening in the outside world shutting down or activating certain sets of genes. So my beloved Karaji children of Wu-Nuwaupian must come to realize that the West use cinema, TV, even books, magazines to affect your Yakuza genes, and Masak music, as well as their manskind's made laws of authority, and their education system. All this is to program you and in time change your DNA on how you think and see things. It took the white race in the Western world 400 years from 1600 AD to 2000 AD to change Africans into Negroes, mental slaves who worship their image, seek to look like them. Negro females bleach their wabar hair blonde, bum it to look like Homo canine farar fur, perms or straight extensions, even put in light-colored contact lens. This is the effect of 400 Shamatit years of programming. Now that their genes have changed, some really think they look nice in the image of the Laban Sala, white race, worshipping a god that looks white or follow a prophet who is an Arab, anything except their own Salal race. Anybody's religions except their own African fodderism animism, anybody's dress, Masak music, bara at foods that is the 400-year programming. I, Pa Nabab Yaa-Nun incarnated into the body of Malachi Z. Kobina York Okran to change all that. By way of the right knowledge, the right wisdom, the right understanding that leads to the right overstanding onto the sound right reasoning. That you can transform yourselves from inside out and outside inward, return to being deities once again. I was born June 26, 1945 AD at 1 second past 12 o'clock midnight, born in Takoradi, Ghana, West Africa. That it may be fulfilled, he came from the east to the west for Africa is in fact east of America. My DNA mother is Mary Abba Okran of Ghana of the Yu tribe, the Akan clan and my DNA father is Al-Haadi Abdur Rahman Al-Mahdi of Sudan of the Dongolaway tribe of Nubia. I am the great-grandson of Muhammad Ahmad ibn Abdullah born June 26, 1845 AD and rose up March 10, 1885 AD. The only true Al-Mahdi of the East, I was born 100 years after him to be the Mujdad or reformer, renewer, as it was recorded. And that is exactly what I started doing from 1962 to 1963 AD. Then I opened the 7 seals in the year 1970 AD just as the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad predicted to his followers. I am that one with the book of Lam or Lamb and the new Arabic dressed in white as he predicted. I will bring the lost found blacks unto the hereafter from 2000 AD the year that the dominion of the Adamite race's 6,000 years ended. I am that black savior they called Messiah which the white race has feared coming all these Shamit years. Now I am finally here with your salvation with healing in my wings, accept this gift from your Salafu ancestors. This is your last chance, Michael, Malachi is here.